All right, rock addicts out there, I am live with Stu Marshall from the band Empires of Eden, and he's talking to me from Australia, so this is really cool. How you doing, man?
Spencer, Will, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very good tonight, thank you. And good, I guess it's almost lunchtime for you, huh?
Yeah, we're kind of in the middle of winter here. The sun's out, and it's a perfect Sydney day, so right on lunchtime.
So, this is the first question I usually ask is, to talk about the members of the band, but you have a unique situation here with all the different members. So, go ahead and name your spot and name the, I guess if you can mention a few of the main members from this most recent album.
Okay. Well, probably the best thing to start off with is one of the reasons that I don't mind Empires of Eden being called a band is normal projects. There's a central guy that hires all the singers, gets a ghost vocalist to tell them what to do. Empires of Eden is not like that. The reason I don't call it Stu Marshall's Empires of Eden is because it's a complete collaboration. And the first point is that all the singers have complete control to write their own lyrics and melodies, and they always have on all three albums. So what you're hearing is a true collaboration. And in some cases, some of the singers, it's really the first time in a long time they've been able to come out and do that. So I think that's kind of cool. But I guess, we've got 11 singers on the new album, and all of them worth mentioning, all of them jaw-dropping in their own way. But on the new album, which is called Channeling the Infinite, I got Udo Dirk Schneider, X-Accept, which is an incredible dream come true. Rob Rock, Steve Grimmett, the list goes on. The amazing Sean Peck from Cage, and Ronnie Monroe. Who else we got going? A guy called Alessandro Del Vecchio from Italy is amazing melodic voice. Mike DeMeo, who was in Master Plan. So that's the long-winded answer to your question.
Very cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So how did this all, this band project, whatever you want to call it, how did this all start? What was the driving force to make this happen for you?
Well, in 2005, I was in a band called Dungeon, and around that time, we'd finished a European tour with Megadeth, which was a great experience, and we were in Japan, and it was one of those things. It was time for me to leave. I thought it was time for me to go, and so I left that band, started a band called Pain Division, which was a kind of different thing musically from Dungeon, which was European power metal. Pain Division was a real kind of Wasp meets Motorhead kind of get out there and kick it kind of music. And that band did pretty well. We had some success and went to Japan again and toured. And it was during that time that I had a lot of material left from Dungeon that never made the albums. But I thought it was really strong and I wanted to represent it out there. So what I did, I kind of innocently approached 3 friends of mine in Australia, incredible singers, just to get together and record the songs. I had no intention of making them a commercial concern. So the idea of Empires of Eden came around with this collaboration. So I approached one of the main singers, a guy called Louis from a band called Crimson Fire. I approached him with the bulk of the material, and I said, look, I don't sing. I'm a crap singer. So, you sell the story the way you want it to be told. It's the way in which, if you want a singer to really deliver you a performance that you'll remember, let them tell their story, whatever that is, whatever they want to express. And so over a 3-month period, the debut album, Songs of War and Vengeance, came together, and it was just a very organic. I flew the guys up to my studio in Sydney. They sort of lived in separate parts of Australia, and the album was done. I had some material that was previously written. I think I had 5 tracks, and then I composed the rest of the material around the singers because I knew how these guys sang. I was a fan of their voice, so I was able to tap into what I would like to hear as a fan of them. And so that's how the first album came about. And we finished it and just sat there going, wow, like how much fun it was. It was really easy. You know, working with professionals is always a great thing. And how it expanded was I straight away started writing more material. But I started writing for people that I'd been a fan of for years, people that have influenced me musically. And I think it was the Sunday I was peeling through my LP collection, you know, so I still got hundreds and hundreds of LPs, and thought, how cool would it be to write for Zach Stevens? You know, like, I'm a massive Sabotage fan, you know, it'd just be a dream come true to write for this guy. And so I sat down in the studio and I wrote a track that I would like him to sing, you know, as a fan. I thought, you know, it'd be great to hear Zach in a real, you know, power metal kind of context, you know, and you know, a little bit more of a different style of what he's doing in Circle to Circle. And the same went for the rest of the singers on the second album. You know, a huge Steve Grimmett fan. You know, so how great would it be to write for this guy? And one thing led to another. Contacted their management, and they seemed to really like the material. There was no sort of changes because that they wanted, because I did offer to them, well, if you want to make changes, this is a collaborative project. Anything you want changed, I can do. It was a great experience. You know, I think within a week or so, I got the vocals back from a couple of the singers, and my head just exploded. It was just like, wow, this can work if you start working with the right people and handle it the right way. So that's the essence of how this all came together. And one of the things I think is pretty special about it, yeah.
So is that your approach for each album then? I mean, you sit down and write a track for somebody that you want involved with it, and you send it off and hope that they buy into it?
Absolutely.
Nice. Very cool. And I have to tell you, the way I found out about you is I had interviewed Richard from Metal for Cancer, and through that whole experience that I had with him, that's how I found out about you guys. So
great. Yeah, Richard's been a long-time friend of mine, and that Metal for Cancer charity is a very, very positive way that you know, a few dollars can go to something worthwhile.
Yes, definitely. So, okay, so what got you into music? What got you into this whole thing? What kind of influences you have growing up that made you want to do something like this?
I started playing guitar at about 6, and you know, in Australia here, we're kind of we have AC/DC in our blood out here. You know, it's played on mainstream radio all the time. So I guess I grew up with that. Kiss was a huge influence for me as a young kid, and I think, you know, as a young teenager, I think one of the first albums I got was the Manowar album, Hail to England, you know, and stuff like that. So that's the more sort of true metal kind of stuff. And, you know, the usual suspects, you know, Yngwie Malmsteen got into my blood, and then we got, you know, Paul Gilbert and all the shredders from the 80s. And so there was a real combination of band-orientated music like Priest and Maiden, you know, even Slayer and you know, the Bay Area thrash stuff, all mixed in with the high-octane guitar. And I'm still completely obsessed by guitars today, man. You know, it's never going to go away. It's not a phase for me. So
I couldn't tell by how hard you shred on the tracks.
Well, yeah, you know, again, influences on the sleeve there, you know, the forefathers. You know, I had a conversation with someone recently, you know, and it was a good friend of mine who's about 15 years older, and he was talking to me about Clapton and Jimmy Page, and I said, man, you know, Paul Gilbert's my Jimmy Page. You know, like, you know, Ross the Boss is you know, my Clapton, you know, because that's the kind of era I grew up in. Right. So, you know, I missed out a little bit on the early 70s guitar players and kind of got the Thin Lizzy, Priest, Maiden kind of stuff. So that's definitely what's under the skin.
Cool. And I have a question from the chat. Mad Dog wants to know what's to come next, and is there going to be any kind of tour, or is there any kind of tour?
I'm trying for it. The reality with the tour is simple. I've toured a lot over the last 10 years with different bands, and I want this tour done right. I want it handled correctly with the right promoter. The point there is that everyone needs to be taken care of, and that requires a budget. So I have management in Germany who are trying to get an Empires of Eden tour together, but I want to take this out with 6 or 7 singers. I've been offered good funding to go out with one vocalist. That's not what this thing's about. It's about presenting a range of singers. So I guess I'm creating some barriers for some of these promoters, but I think fans would love to see 9 singers screaming on stage. So the plan is there. Everybody wants to tour. Rob Rock mentioned he'd like to tour this. Mike Vasera mentioned he'd like to tour this when I was talking to them before. So everyone is interested in hitting the road with it. We just need to find the right backing.
Yeah, I would think you wouldn't have trouble selling tickets to shows for this.
The vision that I've sold to the promoters is a very real one. I think the excitement would be high for this gig, man. Like, an hour and a half of some of the world's best singers screaming on stage, joining each other, very much like an Avantasia thing. This concept is not entirely original. It has original and unique parts, but I think Tobias did a great job in getting the funding for that tour that he had recently.
Yeah, so this current album, Channeling the Infinite, where did you record at?
The entire album has been recorded in my studio in Sydney, Frontier. I mixed it, I mastered it, I did a lot. So all of the music was recorded here, and then the 11 different singers sang in 11 different studios across the world. So we had vocals recorded in Japan, we had vocals recorded in Europe, in the States, and so it's very much a global thing.
And how long did it, from beginning to end, when I say beginning, like from writing the music to actually getting the album out, how long did that take?
Channeling took around about 18 months. The reason it took a little longer for me than normal, I approached Ronnie Munro to sing on the album, and we ended up doing a deal where he needed a solo album. So I stopped production of this to co-produce, mixed, and wrote 9 of the 11 tracks for his solo album, which was released last year. So that took a good 4 to 5 months, excuse me, out of the schedule to record this. But the whole process end to end was 18 months.
Very cool. And then, how did you come up with the name for the band, Empires of Eden? Where'd that come from?
I wish I had a really good answer for that. I was thinking about a label for what to call this thing, and I guess it comes down to an ideal for me. I've got lots of different friends with different religious backgrounds and different views and philosophical views, and I guess the thing for me is that I think humans are always dreaming of this utopian world. Where the fact of the matter is that my belief is that it can never exist with human nature, and so the ideal is everyone has these empires of Eden in their mind, but my I guess my pessimistic, realistic view is that that's not going to happen. So enjoy what we've got.
Right.
And it just hit me, again, if I was challenged on it, I probably would have my theories shot out of the water, but it just seemed to be an organic thing. And the word organic, I use it a fair bit. It can sound like a real hippie kind of thing, but I just think music needs to flow. Artistic, artwork, like that's how I choose my art. That's how I work with all the different artists, is that it needs to have this real natural flow to it. So I tend not to overanalyze stuff. If it's working, I'll go with it. And I guess that's where this title came up for Empires of Eden.
Very cool. Where can people go to find out more about Empires of Eden? Where can they go buy merchandise, buy the album? Where can they go to support you guys?
The very best way is empiresofeden.com. All of the information's there. We've got samples, an online store where you can buy special digipacks of the album. And I think at the moment we've got a deal for $20. That includes global shipping from Australia. All hand signed product. We're on Facebook. check us out on Facebook. I'm giving away posters, and that's where we put our information up first. We've got a pretty strong legion there, so that's where we put all the info, and we give away a whole bunch of stuff there from time to time. So pretty active on the web, and empiresofeden.com.
Okay, very cool. So everybody listening, and I know you're there because I see you in the chat, go check them out. If you like them, buy some stuff. So what? Here's a question for you specifically. If I grabbed like your iPod or your MP3 player, however you listen to music, what kind of bands would I find you listening to today?
I have a real blend of old and new. One of the albums I've been going crazy on lately is a project that's called Anti-Metal USA. It's huge in Japan, and what it is it's metal music put to like anime kind of tracks, and the band is like Chris Impellitteri, who was amazing, all American guys, Mike Facira, Rudy Sarzo on bass, and I think they had Scott Travis on drums. So that new album came out about 4 weeks ago. That's incredible. What else? The new Grand Magus album. I love that kind of stuff. It's predominantly metal in the iPod. And then, back to the classics. I just can't get past Dio era Sabbath. I think losing Dio was a massive loss for the community, the heavy metal community, because he was such a figurehead.
Right, definitely.
And I think it's starting to register with people more now. The loss of Dio. We all felt like we lost a family member. Whether we had the right to feel that way or not, I don't know. But it was one of those things. But like Maiden and Priest, for some reason, I just keep going back to the classics. Early Manowar, that's pretty much it. There's no shocking surprises on the iPod, mate. It's pretty it bleeds metal.
Yep, that's cool. I dig all those bands and listen to them frequently, so I can relate. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a live show?
Craziest thing, I guess, like, as far as antics and stuff, I'm kind of boring. I've usually been the first guy in the sack while the other guys are partying. As far as crazy things go, I remember the first time I walked out to a big crowd in Japan when we were in Dungeon, and we filmed a live DVD. That just freaked me out. Like, it excited me, it scared the shit out of me. I'll never forget that feeling. It was amazing. And then that sort of translated to touring with Megadeth was incredible, because we were playing places like the Olympic Volleyball Stadium in Athens, and Romania was crazy. So I guess the interesting thing about that is walking out on stage to maybe 20,000 people that have no idea who you are. So you can hear crickets, people are folding their arms, can't get off. We want to see Megadeth, and by the end of the set, I think a few of those gigs were getting encore requests, and we had a really good time. So that was pretty crazy. But no one's really chucked anything at me on stage, always put across a fairly aggressive persona on stage, so I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, or whether I just pick up the guitar and club somebody. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. If anyone out there wants to throw a toilet roll soaked in piss or something, we'll see what happens. They do that in Donington, I hear, or Download. That's apparently a term of endearment. They fill bottles full of urine and throw it at the bands. So Wasp was talking about that.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen to you. That doesn't sound fun.
Me too.
Okay, man. Anything else you would like to tell everybody about Empires of Eden? Anything that I haven't talked about or asked you about that you want to make sure people know?
I guess, check out the album with an open mind. This is, you're going to be hearing singers deliver personal performances all the way through. That's an important thing for me. you know, I don't care whether people buy or download the thing. You know, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. Enjoy the album. That's all I really care about. And you know, if you got questions, you know, hit me up on through the Facebook site. You know, we've got special Q&A sessions happening there from time to time. But yeah, drop by, check it out, and let us know what you think. That's about it.
Okay, very cool. I have one last thing to ask you before I let you go, and if you wouldn't mind making a couple of radio tags for me.
Yeah, I can do that.
So the first one will be a station tag where you can just say, you know, this is Stu Marshall from Empires of Eden, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Yeah, you want to do this live on air, man? We can do this offline if you want.
Oh yeah, do it right now. They can hear it all.
Okay. All right. So, because my memory is mush, let me get a pen, dude.
No problem.
Had a huge night last night with watched a couple of UFC fights, and the brain is not functioning. Hit me again with what you want me to say.
Yeah. This is Stu Marshall, and you're from Empires of Eden, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Okay. Hey, this is Stu Marshall from Empires of Eden, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Very cool, man. And then the second one, same thing, but throw in that you're listening to DJ REM at Rock Addict Radio.
Hey, this is Stu Marshall from Empires of Eden. You're listening to DJ REM on rockaddictradio.com.
Very cool, man. I totally appreciate it. I totally appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. One other thing, I'm going to send your tracks to the other DJs so they can play them. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I will make that happen. And yeah, when sometime later this week, I will have this uploaded to YouTube, so you can check it out, and your fans can check it out, and anybody listening that wants to hear it again can check it out.
Mate, thank you, and thanks for showing an interest in Empires of Eden. You know, the fact of the matter is the industry has changed so much that it's shows like this and you know, a few of the other DJs that are really going to be keeping metal alive long term. So thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Our pleasure. Killer music. We love to play it. So, okay, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. I am going to play the entire album on my show tonight, too, so they're going to get a full taste.
Great.
So, okay, I will talk to you later then.
See you, bro.
All right, peace.